There is no sense of defeatism that I can see, only a stronger resolve actually to win this war and reclaim the territory that Russia has occupied.
It's like a big coalition between Europe and Ukraine and the United States, fighting together.
The problem is that Russia is keen to basically destroy and kill as many Ukrainians as possible before Ukraine wins.
Hello and welcome to Ukraine in Flames, a special project by Ukraine Media Center and NGO Euro-Atlantic Course. I'm your host, Maria Romanenko. Since February 2022, hundreds of journalists have been coming to Ukraine from across the world to cover Russia's all-out invasion. How do they see the Russian aggression from their point of view and the point of view of their countries? If you want to find out, please continue watching this video and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our videos in the future. We spoke with journalists from Spain and Scotland to see what it's like to stay in Ukraine during the war. We start with Borja Lacheras, a senior fellow at the Center for European Policy Studies. We caught up with Borja in Kharkiv, east of Ukraine.
I'm currently a senior fellow at the Center for European Policy Studies, and previously I'd served at the Spanish government Prime Minister's office, where I was a senior foreign policy advisor covering Ukraine, Russia, and other dossiers. I've been coming to Ukraine for several years now, so my interest is both professional and personal. I'm well connected with civil society, especially the civil society that was born right after the Revolution of Dignity, the Maidan Revolution. And this is my first visit to Kharkiv since the beginning of the full-scale invasion this February. At root, this war initially has no meaning. It's a war of aggression from a nuclear country, a permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations, against a member of the United Nations. But now it has a very prescient meaning. It is a war for Ukraine's survival as an independent, viable, and European country. So the Europeans are fighting for everything they believe in and for their own survival, because Russia wants to basically destroy Ukraine. So all these years, I see this country changing. There are lights and shadows. A lot of people in the West tend to focus on the shadows, but there are many lights in Ukraine. And one of them is the social fabric that underpins modern Ukraine. Civil society leaders, societal leaders, etc. So these are the people that, and together with anonymous Ukrainians, that are doing daily everything for victory. And my personal thought that I think Ukraine will win. The problem is that Russia is keen to basically destroy and kill as many Ukrainians as possible before Ukraine wins. So this is not only, or as importantly, a war for Ukraine's survival, but also it's a war that will define the future of European security. So Europeans cannot let this happen. And it's, if you ask me, it's a very cheap war for many Europeans, because we need just to pay for supporting Ukraine, for funding its assistance and its military. This is a war that Europeans don't have to fight. The Europeans that are fighting this war are Ukrainians. And I think there's a lot at stake, and we need to keep it up as long as it takes.
Jen Stout is a Scottish-born journalist who reports for the BBC, the Sunday Post and RTE Radio. She described the atmosphere in Ukrainian cities throughout the 8 months of the all-out war.
I'm a journalist from Scotland. I'm a freelance, but I report a lot for the BBC Radio, for the Sunday Post in Scotland, and RTE Radio, and sometimes the London Review of Books. I was in Ukraine in April, May, bit of June. I've just come back a week ago. I've been in Lviv, Kiev and Kharkiv. I'm very, very happy to be back, especially in Kharkiv, which is a city I've loved for a long time. I was here a few years ago, got a lot of good friends here, and I was here for most of May as well, a bit of April. I believe that this is, I think everyone understands that this is a war of aggression against a sovereign, independent country. It's very, very clear. What I've noticed in the time that I've been away and I've just come back is the resolve has certainly not disappeared. There is no sense of defeatism that I can see, only a stronger resolve actually to win this war and reclaim the territory that Russia has occupied. I enjoy being in this country because I meet such extraordinary people who are doing such extraordinary things. And I notice when I go home to the UK that some of the cynicism and apathy can be quite grating, because people don't realise how lucky they are to have peace, to have freedom, to have a relatively functioning democratic system, all of the things that people in Ukraine are fighting so hard for. So I'm happy to be here, and I feel lucky to be here actually as well.
Finally, Mikel Ayestaran is a journalist at EITB in Spain. We talked to Mikel in Kiev yesterday in the aftermath of the first Iranian drone attacks on the capital. Let's have a look.
One of the biggest differences is to see this direct line, between Ukraine and all the European Union, and this connection, not only from the point of view of the refugees that they are going to Europe, but also from the political point of view, from the military point of view. It's like a big coalition between Europe and Ukraine and the United States, fighting together, and it's the first time I see this in a conflict. It's not like this in other parts of the world. In the opposite side, but we see also like Russia has his own allies, like in the last days we see in the case of Iran, that is providing Moscow with these drones that I think they could change, the face of the war will be different apart from this moment. After 7 months, I have to say that in Spain there is big interest, still big interest in this war, and maybe one of the reasons is because there is a direct impact, of the consequences of this conflict in the daily life of the Spanish people, because Russia is using the energy as a weapon, as a tool. So Europe is suffering the consequences of the political decisions against Russia. So this makes that the war is still very interesting for the audience, and also from the because the proximity. We are the same people, same way of life. We have many similarities between the nations, so I think the audience, they feel this direct connection also with the Ukrainian population. This is very important. This is not new. In all the wars I have been working, it happens the same. The both sides, they have an incredible propaganda war from Kiev, from Moscow. This is part of the war. It's the war of information, and we are in the middle of these big propaganda machines. But I have to confess, I'm very active in the social media, and the level of the attacks you can receive here, especially from the pro-Russian side, is very important. I've been 8 years living in Jerusalem, so I've been in the middle of the conflict between Israeli and Palestinians, and here is worse. It's worse. It's more aggressive and constantly. This kind of bullying in the social media. But I only can say that I feel free working here. I go whenever I want. I talk with all the people I want. This is what I report about this. I'm maybe the macro politics or all the picture of the conflict. I cannot cover it, but I can cover the daily life of the people in the places I've been working in Zaporizhia, in Odessa, in Dnipro, in Kharkiv, in Kiev, and I feel happy, that I'm free to work and to have interviews with all the people I want, to move freely, and this is what I do. It's the second time in this week that Russia is trying to reach this energy plant here close to the train station. It's not a very accurate attack, and for the second time in the week, they target civilian buildings. So we have at least 3 people dead, 1 disappeared. That's why the rescue services are working, trying to find the last person. And unfortunately, this is what happened. When you attack a big city like Kiev, the probability of having civilian casualties is so high. And once more, I think that it's very clear that there is no safe place in this country. Russia can attack any city at any moment.
You've been watching the special project by Ukraine Media Center and Euro-Atlantic course dedicated to the Russian-Ukrainian war, Ukraine in Flames. In the description under this video, you can find information on how you can help Ukraine fight Russian aggression. If you find our work useful, please subscribe to our channel, like and share this video. Slava Ukraini!